No one anticipated the High Court to act this fast and this forcefully. With news that guided Ment was held overseas under unclear legal terms, there was deafening silence from the presidency, bewilderment from Parliament and sheer panic within Latuli House. The silence soon dissipated. Under intense pressure from civil society, opposition parties, and legal monitors, the court made an unprecedented order that would upend South Africa's political map. President Sir Ramaphosa is now compelled to present a complete and open report on the arrest, the charges, the preemptive knowledge of the state, and if and how any attempts were made to hinder or delay justice. For the first time ever under his presidency, the president is being legally compelled to put his words down on paper, not with equivocal platitudes or carefully crafted PR speechifying, but with hard truths that will be passed both in South Africa and overseas. The circumstances of Mantashe's arrest are still unclear, but sources indicate it is related to serious international corruption allegations, perhaps related to energy deals, offshore financial transactions, and foreign business organizations. He was seized by officials in a European country while attending what was meant to be an off-the-books energy forum. That meeting, as it happens, was being monitored by overseas financial intelligence agencies who had been watching for suspicious behavior connected with lucrative contracts and shadowy brokers. Government officials reportedly moved on the warrants issued months earlier, warrants that South African institutions were not even aware of or willingly chose to ignore. That admission is what has powered the most painful questions. Was the presidency taken by surprise, or did top officials know this was on the way and opted to turn a blind eye? The High Court's insistence brooks no doubt the president needs to fully explain what the government was aware of in regard to Mantashe's foreign dealings, what diplomatic action was taken, and whether there were any legal requirements for South Africa to report or assist in the foreign probe. For Ramaphosa, it is a nightmare come true. He is no longer simply confronted by opposition chatter or media rumor. He is now being held accountable by the courts, and the judiciary is requiring answers under oath. Any effort to deceive or cover up the facts could result in contempt or obstruction of justice charges. It is a political balancing act between shielding his inner circle and maintaining what little credibility his presidency has remaining. If you believe the chaos is only outside the party of government, think again. The ANC is self-destructing. The arrest of Mantashe has unleashed a new war between groups: Ramaphosa loyalists, radical economic transformation bloc supporters, and those desperate to sidle away from the increasingly vile reek of scandal. Several provincial leaders have reportedly called for an emergency meeting of the ANC's National Executive Committee, while some MPs are preparing to support a vote of no confidence should Ramaphosa fail to satisfy the court's demands. One high-ranking party member who spoke off the record was frank that the ANC can't endure the defense of yet another global embarrassment. If the president is not going to clean house, then the house has to remove him. Such sentiments underscore the delicate tightrope Ramaphosa is attempting to walk, a tightrope that could at any moment snap under the pressure of the scandal. It is all made worse by the timing. South Africa is already beset by economic stagnation, rampant unemployment, chronic load shedding, and an acute crisis of public trust. In this context, the news of a top ANC official being arrested overseas for corruption is calamitous. To the common South African, it appears as confirmation that the culture of impunity that reigned supreme during state capture never really went away. For both foreign governments and investors, it makes one question whether the existing leadership is in a position to reform. This is no longer an internal matter. Ramaphosa's silence, accompanied by the intervention of the High Court and Mantashe's arrest, has put South Africa in the spotlight of fierce international scrutiny. Foreign governments are now calling for transparency. Confidence in investment is declining. International observers are starting to wonder if South Africa is really serious about combating corruption or playing politics as usual. As state capture goes on under another guise, Ramaphosa's new dawn is urgent now, and it looks like tatters. The world watches anxiously and it demands answers. While the ANC goes up in flames from within, opposition parties are not losing any time piling on the pressure. The DA already called for Ramaphosa to testify before a special parliamentary committee. The EFF is ready to go to court to compel the public release of all correspondence between the presidency and foreign law enforcement. In the meanwhile, Action SA and the UDM are demanding mass mobilization and even new elections. For the first time in years, there is a palpable fissure in the ANC's once impenetrable armor, and opposition leaders are eager to insert a political wedge right through it. Ramaphosa once stood before the country and vowed to flush out corruption, establish trust in government again, and restore South Africa to its position of respect on the global stage. Today, however, as the High Court calls for transparency, a top ally arrested overseas, and his own party eating itself alive, his own reputation teeters on the brink of collapse than ever before. What makes the moment more perilous for the president is that it sets a precedent. No South African court has ever so squarely compelled an incumbent president to testify on oath about the actions of members of his inner circle. It is an indication of increased readiness on the part of the judiciary to insist on higher accountability from the executive. If Ramaphosa fails here, it won't only be his presidency that pays the price. It will potentially weaken the office itself and give confidence to political opponents and civil society actors alike to make demands for even more control in the future. The uncertainty has also been stoking succession speculation. Who would come in if Ramaphosa were ousted or resigned in the face of pressure? Names are already floating around, some of them from the AIT faction, some of them from the so-called reformist clique. But whichever group takes over, the ANC faces a vicious power struggle that would further splinter the party and embolden its opposition heading into future elections. While this is playing out, regular South Africans stand and watch in familiar horror. Leaders accusing each other, different factions fighting for power, institutions straining to make anyone accountable, and everyday life getting more difficult by the minute. If the arrest of guided Mantashe overseas lit the flame, it was one of ANC's own making, the unavoidable result of decades of compromise, corruption, and an inability to reform. Will Ramaphosa own up? Will he be entirely cooperative with the judiciary, even if it means revealing uncomfortable realities about his closest allies? Or will he dig in and shield the inner circle, threatening not only his presidency, but South Africa's democratic reputation on the international scene? If you like this information, like the video and subscribe to the channel for more videos like this.